Hey everybody, it's Jim.
This is Ennis.
And we're Inner Solutions, a company dedicated to helping support people with anxiety, depression, or any other mental health ailment because we suffered for a long time and it sucks. Yeah, what?
You got it.
All right, yeah, great. Today we're going to talk about how...
You got it, keep going.
Okay. Today we're going to talk about why you need to stop feeling guilty about taking care of yourself and how taking care of yourself is actually the best way to take care of those around you.
I mean, this goes back to that old common phrase of putting on your face mask before helping others on the plane.
Wait, say that again in a better way.
That's the way. Putting on your face mask.
The oxygen mask. Your face.
Yeah.
People are going to think you're playing football on a plane.
You got to put that on first.
Right. So after you put on your football helmet...
So
do we scrap this?
No. You know what we're trying to say. You got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Before you try to fix everybody around you. I hear so many people that feel guilty for taking a nap in the afternoon. They feel guilty for taking 45 minutes to eat a proper lunch. You got to stop that. We're going to dive into all the reasons why that guilt is there. What's going on to make you feel like that in the first place. But first and foremost, you got to understand, if your real goal is to help the people around you, to show up and not even show up at your best, just show up half, like 50%. You got to take care of yourself, which means getting enough sleep, eating enough food, and just basically doing the things that you need to do to keep yourself vibrant, nourished, things like resting in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah, I think it goes way beyond that too, as far as like investing in your mental health. So going to therapy, allocating resources, money, time, anything to going to therapy, understanding yourself more deeply. One of the big points that we want to make here is that just your energy, just your vibe, just your happiness, your level of freedom internally, people are absorbing that constantly, non-verbally, through just your actions, the example that you're setting. And it's important to know that like you are the center of your network, and that network can include your friends, family, coworkers, whatever. So that the better you're feeling, and this works with productivity too, the better you're feeling, the better that's going to kind of trickle down into anybody who's in that network. Even when we're talking about with the way you deal with cashiers or waiters or people with you, they're going to feel this energy if you're emanating a peaceful, calm state, or if you're happy, and they're also going to absorb that energy if you're stressed out or you're anxious and you're spread too thin among things. So the thesis of this video is really that taking care of yourself takes care of those around you.
So you can start by looking at, kind of do an audit. Where are all the areas that in your life that are being ignored, that are being just kind of procrastinated on? You might be skipping lunch. You might be getting less sleep than you really need. And what frustrates me sometimes when I talk to clients is the amount of excuses that I hear in this area, where it's like, well, of course I'm only getting 4 hours of sleep. I have kids. Well, of course I've got to skip lunch every day. I've got a job. And I get that there's days, maybe even weeks, where things are just kind of going down. You are unable to get on your feet. You're unable to find the time for yourself. I get that. There are hard moments. However, if this is a general pattern in your life where for months on end you're just ignoring yourself, not getting enough sleep, not eating enough, that's not going to lead to any positive results for you, for your kids, for your coworkers, for your friends, your family. It's really, really not. So don't let that be an excuse. If you're in a situation in your life where you have a lot of responsibilities, you can still make 2%, 3% improvements where you get 10 minutes to yourself, where you delegate some of the work to somebody, where you you get rid of stuff that you actually don't need to be doing in the first place. There's so much time that you can carve out when you really want to.
Yeah, and I see this a lot in parents especially, but it goes with everybody else. But let's talk about parents for a second, where they're just doing too much for their kids, and they're doing it because they think that either their kids can't do it for themselves, or they feel guilty when they spend time or resources on themselves. And so that can take some assistance in a coach, counselor, or even just a trusted friend to help you recalibrate, well, what is a healthy balance between taking care of myself and helping take care of my children? Furthermore, in being altruistic with people, there's a huge risk of being enabling. And this is when you see kids or coworkers or people who start to just pile things onto you. And so you're talking about a feedback loop that's only going to spiral and become more and more intensified and exacerbated with the situation. Now, you have to really sit and get very intentional about what direction you want to go and where these things are. And so doing some systems thinking in implementing new systems in your life, and this can be in your family life, your professional life, and your whatever life, to make sure that you're firing on all cylinders so that you can be as effective, productive, and ultimately just feel the best you can do. People think things like working through lunch, like neglecting themselves of food, which is something on a small scale we're talking about, is going to be what's best because maybe that day your boss needs X, Y, Z, or you need to do this for another person. But what they don't realize is that neglecting yourself of things that you need, it not only sets a precedent with that person that, you know, the balance that they can just delegate more to you, you can handle more, but that you're not going to be doing the best work you can be doing when you're hungry or when your blood sugar's off or when you're stretched too thin, bouncing from place to place and your head's spinning because you have to pick up your kids and go drop off the laundry and do the groceries and everything like that.
And not only that, but when you're in that chronically deficient mode where you're tired for days on end, you're not getting enough nutrition for days on end, this can create other issues in the body where you might start to experience chronic stress. So when you have chronic stress, you end up having usually problems with like your back, your headaches, your whole body. You might get sick more often. You might have all sorts of illnesses and aches and pains that are popping up. You also may be in a chronic fight or flight mode, which starts to create anxiety, starts to create depression, starts to create problems sleeping, which of course has an impact on every other area of your life. So when you're doing this for a prolonged period, you got to think about it not just at the level of the day, but at the level of the year. How does a month of not taking care of yourself impact you a year later? Because it does impact you a year later. Your life is really just a collection of decisions, ones that are bearing fruit later down the road and ones that are kind of hurting you a lot in different ways down the road. So when you look at the good things in your life today, most of that's coming from good decisions you made 5-10 years ago. So when you're starting to make these changes, you may not see immediate results. You may not see everything change all at once. But believe me, if you can go a couple months straight making good decisions, taking care of yourself, doing that thing that you know you should be doing in terms of your own health, a year from now, you might wake up and just realize, wow, that ache and pain that I had isn't here anymore. Wow, that one situation in my life that used to be such a big deal is not a problem anymore. And it really does unfold like that.
Yeah, and I think one of the issues that can come up with these is resetting boundaries. And that could be really difficult to do, especially with primary relationships like a child or a husband, and really especially in a professional setting. There can be a lot of fear behind that. So one way to start is just to look yourself in the mirror and say things like, I deserve rest. I don't need to accomplish things to prove my self-worth. I deserve, to feel great. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be peaceful. And just really looking yourself in a mirror and making eye contact with yourself and saying these things. Now, if you start to feel some emotional blocks to these, as if there's a part of you that's kind of slapping them away, say, oh, we don't need that, or we don't need that, or whatever, you can meditate and spend some time with that part of you to say, yes, we do. It's a necessity. And actually that my professional career, my personal relationship, or my parenting relationship will not be the best unless I'm in my best form by myself. Now, if you meet some resistance in these relationships with you trying to reset these boundaries and trying to carve out space for you to be healthy, that's a pretty clear indicator that these people don't have your best interest in mind. And then you can start to refer to some of our other videos of how to get out of negative relationships professionally, personally, and with family.
So that's a really good point about how being able to speak up and say, I deserve this, I deserve that, that has so many connections to your, I guess, sense of self-esteem. For example, a quick story, I used to have trouble telling people that I needed to go to the bathroom if it was a long car ride. If it was like me and 3 other people in the car, I felt a sense of, I guess, what you would call, I didn't deserve to stop everybody, make everybody pull over so that I could go to the bathroom. And of course, as I dealt with these underlying issues of acknowledging my needs and not thinking that it meant that I was weak, not thinking that it had some kind of negative burden on other people, but just saying, like, we all have needs. It doesn't mean anything bad about us, and it's okay to speak up about them. It really, really is okay to speak up about them and say, hey, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I gotta go to the bathroom, I'm not feeling right now, let's have this conversation later. All these simple, small needs, when you start speaking to them, when you start acknowledging them, what it does is other people respect you more, and you respect yourself more, and most important of all, you are actually taking care of yourself. So please look at that whole area. If you're unable to speak up and say what you need in a given moment, that's a huge sign that there's some kind of block there that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. And we always recommend you just start small and take small steps. And we also want to remind you that no matter where you are, no matter how stuck you feel, no matter how intense the situation is, or again, how stuck you feel in any situation, you're never stuck. You might just need some help. So for Ennis, I'm Jim. Thank you so much from Inner Solutions. If you like what you hear, click the like button, subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or want to contact us, you can comment below, or our information and emails are here. And just remember that you're never stuck. Lots of love. Lots of love. Hey, I'm glad we didn't scrap that one.
That was fun, right?
Yeah.